If manual labor and hard work truly made people rich, then construction workers, night shift nurses, delivery drivers, and cooks working 12 hours a day would be the wealthiest people in the world. But they're not. And if you're willing to face the truth, you'll realize something uncomfortable. You were never taught how to get rich. You were trained to keep working. Because if you look closely at how the world actually works, you'll notice a strange and brutal paradox. The people doing the hardest, most exhausting work are often the ones struggling the most financially, while others who seem calm, quiet, almost inactive on the surface, are the ones quietly building massive wealth behind the scenes. So what's really going on here? Is it possible that everything you've been told about money, success, and hard work isn't just incomplete, but fundamentally wrong? Because if what you believe is wrong, then every extra hour you work might not be getting you closer to freedom. It might be keeping you exactly where you are. From the moment you were born, you were handed a script, not by one person, but by your parents, your teachers, and society. It sounds familiar. Go to school, get good grades, go to college, maybe take on debt, get a stable job, work 40 hours a week, save a small portion, do this for 40 years, and maybe retire at 65. That's the plan. But look closer. If you earn $3,000 a month and save 10%, that's $300 a month, $3,600 a year. Over 40 years, that's about $144,000 before inflation quietly reduces its value. Meanwhile, living costs keep rising. Housing, healthcare, education, often faster than your income. So you work more, overtime, side hustles. But here's the uncomfortable truth. This system wasn't designed to make you wealthy. It was designed to make you reliable. The economy doesn't need everyone to be rich. It needs people who show up, follow instructions, and keep things running. It needs you skilled, but not independent, ambitious, but not free, just enough to keep going, not enough to walk away. And the most powerful part? You don't question it, because it was never presented as a system, just the right way to live. So when things don't work, when you feel stuck and stressed, you blame yourself. I need to work harder. I'm not doing enough. But what if that's not true? If you keep following this path for decades, will it really lead to the life you want? What if the problem isn't you, but the game you're playing? Because once you see that, everything begins to change. And what happens next might surprise you. Now here's where things get uncomfortable. Because most people believe one simple idea. The harder you work, the more money you make. But that's not how the world actually works. There are people working 12, 14 hours a day. Physical, exhausting jobs, and still struggling to pay rent. At the same time, others make more in a day than some people earn in a year. So what's the difference? Not effort, leverage. Imagine one person working 10 hours a day at $10 an hour, $100 a day. Now imagine another person who spends 100 hours creating a digital product. At first, it earns nothing. Then $10 a day, $100, $1,000. Not because they work more, but because what they built keeps working for them. That's leverage. Your time is no longer the limit. Now add ownership. Employees get paid for their time. Owners get paid for the system. If a business makes $1 million, the employee might get a small bonus. The owner keeps the rest. Same effort, different position. So the truth is this: you're not paid for how hard you work, but for how scalable your work is, how replaceable you are, and whether you own the result. That's why one person can work all day. and earn less than someone closing a single $50,000 deal. The market doesn't reward effort, it rewards leverage. So ask yourself, if your income depends on your time, are you building value or just renting out your life by the hour? Because if time is all you sell, your income will always have a ceiling. And once you see that, you stop asking, how can I work harder? And start asking, how can I build something that works for me? And there's a hidden force behind all of this. Let's simplify this. Your income follows one basic equation. Income equals hourly rate times time, whether you earn $15 or $150 an hour. The formula is the same. At first, it feels fair. You give time, you get paid, but there's a limit built into it. Time, only 24 hours a day. No way to increase it, which means your income has a ceiling. So most people try to escape by increasing their hourly rate. They go to school, take on debt, and land high-paying jobs. $120K, $200K, even $400K a year. From the outside, it looks like success. But look closer. A lawyer billing $400 hour stops working, income stops. A surgeon earning $300K takes time off, income drops to zero. A software engineer making $250K, still working long hours under pressure. What changed? Their rate increased. Their dependence on time didn't. They didn't escape the system. They just upgraded inside it. A bigger paycheck, but also bigger expenses. Mortgage, car, lifestyle. Now they have to maintain that income. Miss a few months, and everything is at risk. This is the trap. High income doesn't create freedom. It creates pressure. That's why people earning $200K can still live paycheck to paycheck. One job, one income stream, one point of failure. And if it stops, everything stops. So here's the real question. If your income only grows with your time, are you getting richer or just becoming more expensive to maintain? Because once you see that, you realize you're not free. You're just getting paid more to stay in the same system. And maybe the real goal isn't to earn more, but to break the equation entirely. At this point, you might be thinking, I'm working hard, doing everything right, so why am I not getting ahead? That feeling is real. Because even if you follow the system is quietly working against you, not in obvious ways, but through small, constant leaks. First, taxes. You work all month, but before your money reaches you, 20% to 30% is already gone. Earn $5,000, you might only keep $3,500. That means part of your time isn't even working for you. And here's the difference. Employees are taxed first, then they live. Owners often earn through assets and get taxed later or less. Same system, different rules. Now the second force, inflation. You don't see it, but you feel it. Prices rise. Rent, food, gas, everything increases. If your income grows 3%, but inflation is 5%, you're actually losing, working more, just to afford less. Like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. At first, it's manageable. Over time, it's exhausting. Now combine both. Taxes take first. Inflation eats the rest. And suddenly, it's clear. You're not just working to get ahead. You're working against a system that keeps pulling you back. So ask yourself, if part of your income disappears up front and the rest loses value over time, how long can you keep up? Because once you see this, you stop asking, how can I work more? and start asking, how do I build something that this system can't quietly drain? As a personal finance advisor, I hear the same thing all the time. I'm busy, but I'm not getting ahead, and I believe it. Because the problem isn't laziness. It's the illusion of being busy. I've seen a rideshare driver working 10, 12 hours a day. It looked productive, but after expenses, his real income dropped sharply. And the moment he stopped driving, income stopped too. A nurse working 60 hours a week, earning more but also spending more just to cope. No wealth built, just exhaustion. A freelance designer always busy with clients, but every project started from zero. No system, no scalability. This is the financial treadmill. You're always moving, but not actually progressing. And that's the danger. Being busy feels like progress, but activity is not advancement. From a financial perspective, only a few things matter. Is your income scalable? Does it continue without you? Are you building assets or just working? Because if money always depends on your time, you're stuck in a loop. Work, earn, spend, repeat. If you fill every hour with work, but nothing you do builds lasting value, are you truly moving forward or just getting better at staying stuck? Think about that, because once you see through this illusion, you realize the truth. You don't lack effort. You lack direction. And without direction, even hard work leads nowhere. You're running fast, but going nowhere. Let me tell you a quick story. A legendary baseball player, Ted Williams, was famous not just for hitting, but for not swinging. Most players swing at anything good enough, but he only swung at the perfect pitch. If it wasn't right, he waited. Calm, patient, disciplined, because he knew a bad swing doesn't just miss, it increases your chance of losing. Now apply that to money. Most people swing at everything. Trending stocks, crypto tips, random side hustles, always chasing, always reacting, and every swing costs something. Time, energy, focus, even years. Here's the truth. The biggest mistake isn't missing opportunities, it's choosing the wrong ones. Sometimes the smartest move is to do nothing. Wait, observe, understand. Like a skilled fisherman, one right catch is worth more than 100 desperate tries. In finance, this is called waiting for the fat pitch, a rare moment where the odds are clearly in your favor. And when it comes, you act decisively. Because wealth isn't built by constant action, but by a few high-quality decisions. How many things you're chasing right now are real opportunities, and how many are just distractions to avoid standing still? Because stillness feels uncomfortable, but often it's where the real advantage begins. Stop chasing everything. Start waiting for the one move that actually changes your life. And the next idea might completely change how you think about your future. There's a trap that almost no one sees coming. Not when you're broke, not when you're struggling. It only appears when you start earning more. It's called the consumption prison. At first, it feels like progress. You get a raise, a better job, a higher income, and naturally, your lifestyle starts to upgrade. A nicer apartment, a newer car, better clothes, more dining out, more you deserve this moments. Nothing extreme, nothing irresponsible, just a little better. But here's what quietly happens. In the background, every upgrade becomes a new baseline. That $1,000 rent becomes $2,000. That simple car turns into a $600 monthly payment. That occasional treat becomes a daily habit. And before you realize it, your expenses have grown to match your income. This is called lifestyle creep. And it's one of the most dangerous forces in personal finance because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like success. Now let's put numbers to it. Someone earning $50,000 a year might spend $45,000. They save $5,000. Now fast forward a few years, they're making $120,000 a year. From the outside, it looks like they've made it, but they're spending $110,000 a year. Bigger house, car payments, subscriptions, vacations to reward themselves. They're saving maybe $10,000. So yes, their income more than doubled, but their financial position barely changed. This is the illusion. High income does not mean you're rich. It just means you have more capacity to spend. And here's where it becomes a prison. Because once your lifestyle expands, it becomes very hard to go back. You can't easily downgrade your apartment. You don't want to give up the car. You're used to a certain standard of living. So now you have to keep earning at that level, not to grow, but just to maintain. That's not freedom. That's dependency. You're no longer working to build your future. You're working to protect your current lifestyle. And the system loves this because the more you consume, the more you stay in the cycle. Earn, spend, upgrade, repeat. And the most dangerous part, you start comparing yourself to other people doing the same thing. Colleagues with nicer cars, friends with bigger homes, people on social media living better lives. So you push a little harder, spend a little more, upgrade a little faster, and suddenly you're trapped in a race that has no finish line. Let me be direct with you. You're not poor. You're just spending like someone who looks rich. But appearance is not wealth. A leased luxury car is not wealth. A high-end apartment is not wealth. Expensive habits are not wealth. Wealth is what you keep, what you own, what continues to grow, even when you stop working. Now imagine the following situation. If your income disappeared tomorrow, how long could your current lifestyle survive without collapsing? Because that answer is your real financial position, not your salary, not your job title, not your outward image. And once you see that clearly, you start to question everything, every upgrade, every purchase, every reward you give yourself. You stop asking, can I afford this? And you start asking, what is this costing me in freedom? Because the truth is simple. The more you need to spend to feel successful, the further you move away from actually becoming free. There's a hidden cost most people never notice. I call it the exhaustion tax. It happens when your job doesn't just take time. It drains your energy. And when you're exhausted, you don't make good financial decisions. Not because you're careless, but because you're tired. I worked with a client, Sarah. She earned about $95,000 a year. On paper, she looked successful, but in reality, she was constantly drained. So she ordered food every night, spent on shopping, weekend escapes, just to feel better. When we added it up, she was spending $1,500, $2,000 a month just to cope with stress. That's over $20,000 a year. Not investing, not building wealth, just surviving her own life. Here's the irony. Her job created the stress, and her stress consumed her income. That's the loop. Work, exhaustion, spending, more work, and it keeps repeating. Now the hard truth. This isn't just about your job. It's about discipline. Because when you're tired, your emotions start spending for you. Convenience gets expensive. Comfort becomes addictive. So ask yourself, how much of your spending is actually improving your life? and how much is just helping you tolerate a life that's exhausting you. Because once you see it clearly, everything changes. Discipline becomes essential, not restriction, but awareness and control. Because if you don't take control, you're not just losing money, you're paying to stay stuck. There's a moment most people don't notice, not when earning, but when deciding. Because money isn't just about effort, it's about decisions. And decisions require mental energy. When your brain is exhausted, your thinking changes. You stop thinking long term and start reacting short term. This is cognitive collapse. I worked with a client, David, an IT specialist, earning $110,000 a year. Smart and disciplined, but after long work days, his mind was drained. At night, he scrolled, saw easy investment ads, and made quick decisions. $500, then $2,000, then $5,000, with little research. Months later, most of it was gone, not because he wasn't smart, but because he was tired. And this happens everywhere. Work drains you. Apps distract you. Stress consumes you. So when it's time to make real decisions, you choose what's easy, not what's right. That's why hardworking people still struggle financially. Not lack of intelligence, but lack of mental clarity at the wrong time. How many of your biggest money decisions were made with a clear mind? And how many were made when you were tired, distracted, or overwhelmed? Think about it, because the solution isn't work harder. It's protecting your mental energy. Delay decisions when tired. Build systems that don't rely on willpower. Otherwise, your brain will keep choosing what's easy, and those small decisions will quietly cost you a fortune. Keep watching, because the next idea might be the most important one in this entire video. Now here's the real question. If the system is limiting you, how do you escape? The answer is simple, but not easy. You don't escape by working harder. You escape by changing the system, because if your income equals time times effort, then more work just means more stress with the same limit. That's not freedom. That's running faster in a cage. What you need is escape velocity. Like in physics, below a certain point, you fall back. But once you break through, you're no longer trapped. Financially, it's the same. You stop trading time and start building leverage. Instead of earning once, you create systems that earn repeatedly. Extra hours might earn you $50, $100. But an asset, a business, content, or investment can generate income without you. This is the shift. Not more effort, but better structure. Yes, it takes work, but it's strategic, front-loaded effort that builds something beyond your time. Because the truth is, you don't need more hours. You need a different approach. And here's the hard part. Change feels risky. But staying the same has a cost too, a lifetime of limits. If you already know where your current path leads, what are you still waiting for before choosing a different one? Because the moment you stop optimizing the wrong system, everything changes. You stop asking, how do I survive? And start asking, how do I escape? And that shift is where real freedom begins. At some point, everything leads to one shift. You can't stay a worker forever and expect a different result, because the game changes when you move from worker to owner. This isn't about quitting your job. It's about changing how you think. As a worker, you trade time for money. You stop working, the income stops. As an owner, you use capital, your time, skills, knowledge to build something that keeps paying. Take Jason, a warehouse worker earning $18 an hour. He worked 50, 60 hours a week, more income, but no real progress. Then he changed one thing, his mindset. Instead of work more, he asked, what can I own? He learned video editing, started freelancing, then built systems, templates, processes, even hired help. Now, he wasn't selling time. He was managing output. Later, he used that income to invest in simple, long-term assets. Slowly, money started coming from multiple sources. That's when everything changes, because money, at its core, is a tool to buy back your time. Every dollar invested becomes a small worker for you, and over time, those workers grow. That's why wealth isn't about working more. It's about owning more. If every dollar you earn is either spent or invested, how many are actually working to buy your time back? Because that answer defines your future, not your salary, but your ability to turn income into ownership. And once you see that, you stop chasing money and start building a system where money works for you. Now it gets practical. If working more isn't the answer, and ownership is the path, how do you build a money machine? Simple idea. Assets generate income, not time, not effort. Assets. An asset is anything that pays you without needing you constantly. Stocks, a small business, digital products, content. Most people think they need a lot to start, so they wait. But the truth? Time matters more than money. Even $5 a day invested consistently can grow massively over time. Not because you work harder, but because your money works. That's compounding. At first it feels slow. Almost nothing happens. So people quit. But those who stay consistent reach a point where assets start generating real income. That's when everything changes. You're no longer relying only on yourself. You've built a system, a simple loop. Earn, spend less, invest, repeat. At first, you feed the machine. Later, the machine feeds you. If you started today even small, where could your money machine take you in 5, 10, or 20 years? Because wealth isn't built overnight. It's built through consistency, and you don't need to be rich to start. You just need to start, because $5 today is the beginning of a system that could one day buy back your time. There's a moment most people never reach, not because it's impossible, but because they quit too early. This is the compounding escape. At the start, your assets feel small, $10, $50, maybe $100 a month. Slow, almost meaningless. But behind the scenes, your system is growing. Every dollar invested builds something that doesn't depend on you. Over time, income starts stacking from investments, systems, small assets. At first, it just helps a little. Then it covers bills. Then more. And one day, it covers your entire cost of living. That's the shift. Your income is no longer tied to your time. Work becomes a choice, not a necessity. That's real freedom. Control over your time and life. But it doesn't happen fast. It takes consistency and patience, because compounding is quiet at first, but powerful over time. If you stay consistent long enough, what would your life look like when your income no longer depends on your time? Because that day is possible. And when it comes, you won't need to chase money anymore. You'll have built something that works for you. And that's when you're truly free. Now we arrive at the final point. Not a strategy, not a tactic, a decision. Because after everything you've seen, the system, the traps, the patterns, there are only two paths in front of you. The first path is the default. You follow the script. You work hard. You earn. You spend. You stay busy. You upgrade your lifestyle. You repeat year after year. You get better at surviving. but not necessarily at escaping. You stay inside the system, and slowly, without even realizing it, the system compounds you. Your time gets traded. Your energy gets drained. Your options get smaller, not in one dramatic moment, but in thousands of small, invisible decisions. The second path is different, not easier, but intentional. You question the script. You stop measuring success by how busy you are or how much you earn this month. You start thinking in systems, in ownership, in leverage, in long-term compounding. You earn, but you don't just spend. You allocate. You build assets. You create income streams. You protect your time. You design your life slowly, deliberately. And at first, no one notices because it doesn't look impressive. It doesn't look like success. But over time, your position changes. Your dependence decreases. Your options expand. Your life opens up. And one day, you realize something most people never do. You're no longer trapped in the same game. Now here's the truth. No one is coming to pull you out. No system will suddenly change for you. No perfect moment will arrive. This choice is quiet. It happens in small decisions. What you do with your next dollar, what you do with your next hour, what you choose to learn, what you choose to ignore, and over time, those small decisions become your direction. So let me ask you one final question. 5 years from now, will you still be reacting to the system, or will you be building something that puts you above it? Because that future is not random. It's being created right now by you, every day, every choice. So choose carefully. Choose consciously, because in the end, there are only two outcomes. You either compound your capital or the system compounds you. That's all. Thanks for watching.